A rod of length L having uniform cross-sectional area A is subjected to a tensile force P as shown in the figure below. If the Young's modulus of the material varies linearly from E1 to E2 along the length of the rod, the normal stress developed at the section SS is to be determined. Please note down the diagram. Now your options are option A, P upon A, option B, P multiply by E1 minus E2 divide by A into E1 plus E2. Option C, P E2 upon A E1. Option D, P E1 upon A E2. Now we will take up question number 3 first. So in this question what they have given, a rod of length L having uniform cross section area is subjected to a tensile force P as shown in figure. So this is what they have given. This is the rod of length L and it is subjected to force P. Now cross section area is A. Modulus of elasticity varies linearly from E1 to E2. So at this point modulus of elasticity is E1. At this point modulus of elasticity is E2. The normal stress developed at the section SS is, so what they are asking, how much normal stress will be developed at section SS. So first we should locate where is that section SS. So this is our section SS. Now if we want to find out how much stress is acting, so sigma is equals to how much? Resisting force, which is equals to applied force upon area. So that our force is P upon area is A. So this must be our answer, right? Do not get confused, sir, this E is varying. If they would have asked delta L, so delta L, now we cannot use this PL upon AE. Why? Because E is not constant. Now E is variable. So we need to go by integration approach. But if they are asking for sigma, it is directly P by A. E has nothing to do with sigma value as of now, right? So it will directly depend on load upon area. So this will be your answer. So option I can see is option A. All other options they have given to confuse you. Option A is correct. They just wanted to confuse you, right? Question 4. Two identical circular rods of same diameter and same length are subjected to same magnitude of axial tensile force. One of the rod is made of mild steel having the modulus of elasticity of 200 gigapascal. The other rod is made of cast iron having the modulus of elasticity of 100 gigapascal. Assume both the materials to be isotropic, homogeneous, and the axial force causes the same amount of uniform stress in the both rods. The stresses developed are within the proportional limit of the respective materials. Which one of the following observation is correct? Option A, both rods elongate by the same amount. Option B, mild steel rod elongates more than the cast iron. Option C, cast iron elongates more than the mild steel rod. Option D, as the stresses are equal, strains are also equal in both the rods. Question 4. So this is actually very lengthy question. It seems to be very lengthy. So here the first thing is, or very important thing is, the moment you are reading question, you need to note a sketch of it. You need to note a sketch of it. So all of you who have already drawn the sketch, what is stated in the problem, those are doing good. Others who have not yet drawn the diagram, you should follow it as the moment you are reading the question. So immediately you should note the diagram and put all the data given in the problem in form of that sketch. That will help you to visualize the big picture. So you can see what is given and what they are asking, right? So let us start with Two identical circular rods of same diameter and same length are subjected to same magnitude of axial tensile force. Very good. So data they have given like two identical rods. So this is rod 1 and this is rod 2. So immediately I have drawn this. They are they are made up of same diameter and same length. So that means area is same, length is same. So let us take A and L. Now same magnitude of axial tensile force. So that means this is subjected to P, load P, and this is also subjected to load P. Fine. One of the rod is made up of mild steel having the modulus of elasticity 200 GPa. So now what they have given, one of the rod is made up of mild steel. So let us take this is mild steel. So modulus of elasticity for this steel will be 200 gigapascal. It is given here. The other rod is made up of cast iron having the modulus of elasticity of 100 gigapascal. So here this is cast iron, that is equals to 100 gigapascal. So in these kind of questions there is one important thing we can write. If for this modulus of elasticity is E, then for this modulus of elasticity will be 2E. So these kind of things will help you to reduce the time of calculation. Sometimes we need not to put the numerical value. Some terms will get cancelled out. So that will be easy for us to calculate, right? So, okay, fine, done. Assume both the materials to be isotropic, homogeneous, and the axial force causes the same amount of uniform stress in both the rods. Obviously, if this is P, area is A, this is P, area is A. So stress will be uniform in both the members. Now, the stresses developed are within proportional limit of the respective material. Now, which of the following observation is correct? So, for the first thing which they have seen, both rods elongate by the same amount. Mild steel rod elongates more than the cast iron. So, basically we are going to compare the elongation here, right? So, we will write it because we are going to compare the elongation. So suppose this steel and cast iron. So cast iron I will represent by symbol C, steel I will represent by symbol S. So delta L value for steel will be P L upon A E. Now E value is 2E. Delta L cast iron will be equals to P L upon area into E. This is the value, right? So what we can conclude from here, look at this. This is PL upon AE multiplied by 1 by 2. And what is this term? This term is delta LC. So what we can write here? Delta LS is equals to delta LC by 2, or delta LC is equals to twice delta LS, right? We can write like this, right? Is it okay? So we can conclude one more thing. If modulus of elasticity in this expression PL upon A, if modulus of elasticity is more, so that means this term is more, that means this term will be less. So that is what we are seeing, and it is actually the double. So delta L in cast iron will be double the value of delta L in steel. So if this all is correct, I am not missing anything because A, L, P are same, only E values are different. So we can conclude this easily. Now the options are: both rods elongate by same amount. No, it is not true. Mild steel rod elongates more than cast iron. No, it is not true. Mild steel elongates by half the amount of cast iron. Third, cast iron elongates more than the mild steel rod. So what appears to be option C seems to be correct. Option C seems to be correct. Next, as the stresses are equal, strains are also equal in both the rods. No, we can't say that strains are equal because strains are nothing but delta L upon L, and initial length is also same. So that means strains produced in this cast iron, strain produced in cast iron is also equals to twice the strain produced in mild steel. So Strengths are also not equal. So the only correct option appears to be C. Note this. Question 5. If the area of cross section of a wire is circular and if the radius of this circle decreases to half its original value due to the stretch of the wire by a load, then the modulus of elasticity of the wire will be option A 1/4 of its original value, option B halved, option C doubled, and option D unaffected. Now let us take up question number 5. In this, if the area of cross section of a wire is circular and if the radius of the circle decreases to its half of original value. So we should think of first, we are talking about a wire. So let us take this is the wire and let us take the diameter is D. Now, because they have given radius of the circle decreases to half its original value, this can be written as twice r. Obviously diameter d and radius r. Now what they have done, the radius of this circle decreases to half its original value due to stretch of the wire by a load, then modulus of elasticity of the wire will be. So what they are saying, if we apply a load on this, suppose P, then this is going to elongate now. This is L plus delta L. But at the same time now this R2 will be equals to R by 2. Here R1 will be R. So this is given, and because the material is same, we are talking about the same wire, so that means modulus of elasticity will be same both the cases. Here we just need to think of it that this is the data given. I am just telling you this is the data given. Now what they are asking? They are asking the modulus of elasticity of the wire will be. So basically they are asking about E value. So all this data which they have given is to confuse you. Why? Because modulus of elasticity is the property of material. It doesn't matter how much this is going to elongate. Modulus of elasticity is independent that. In fact, how much this is going to elongate will depend on modulus of elasticity. So the modulus of elasticity value it is constant. It will not change with this increment or anything. This is constant. So that means here also modulus of elasticity E and here also modulus of elasticity E. So that means it will be unaffected. Option D will be correct. Right? Note this. Question 6. The figure below shows a steel rod of 25 mm square cross sectional area. It is loaded at 4 points K, L, M and N. Assume modulus of elasticity for steel is equals to 200 gigapascal. The total change in length of the rod due to loading is option A 1 micrometer, option B minus 10 micrometer, option C 16 micrometer and option D minus 20 micrometer. In this problem, we have been given this value. The figure below shows a steel rod of 25 mm square cross sectional area. That means the data given is cross sectional area is 25 mm square. So A value is given 25 mm square. The values of load at this point it is given as 100 Newton. At this point it is given as 250 Newton. And at this point it is given as 200 Newton. And at this point it is given as 50 Newton. Now what they are asking, assume E steel is equals to 200 gigapascal. That means E value is also given as 200 gigapascal. The total change in length of the rod due to loading is. So this appears to be case 3 with constant cross section area, which we have seen for delta L. Now the length of different members are also given. So this is, one second. This is given as 500 mm. This is given as 400 mm. And total is given as 1700. So this is the data given to you. What do you need to find out? Total change in length is to be determined. So this is classic example. This question is very important and it has been asked in various examinations, GATE and engineering services multiple times. 4 times the same question can have been asked. So this is particularly easy question. Now we will just write down what was the expression for us to calculate this. So we know that delta L can be given as P1 L1 upon A1 E1 plus P2 L2 upon A2 E2 plus P3 L3 upon A3 E3. But now in this case delta L will be equals to, because area is constant and E is constant, so we will just write 1 upon AE. We will take up common and in bracket we will be left with P1 L1 plus P2 L2 plus P3 L3. We need to write this value. So now we will focus one by one. What is L1? So simply L1 is given as this 500 millimeter. What is L2? L2 is also given as this 400 millimeter. Now what is L3? So L3 value can be given as 1700 minus 500 plus 400. So that is L3 can be given as how much it will be? So 1700 minus 900. 1700 minus 900. How much it will be? 800 millimeter. So we can see this also. 8 plus 5, 13 plus 4, 17. 1700 millimeters. So L1, L2, L3, all values are known to us now. Now we will look at how to get the value of P1. So P1 can be taken as, now this is bar 1, this is bar 2 and this is bar 3. So if we take a section here, what we will get? P1. So we have enough practice of this. Now P1 can be directly written as, sir, this is 100 Newton, and because it is tensile, so we will put the value positive. What is P2? So we need to cut a section in between here. Now we can take up any one side. So this is 200 Newton. Whether you want to take left hand side, you take left hand side, or if you want to take right hand side, you can take right hand side. But if you take left hand side, so what you will get? 250 Newton compressive and 100 Newton tensile. So that means 150 Newton compressive. So the value P2 can be written as minus 150 Newton. Same value we will get if we take up the right section here, 200 compressive and 50 tensile. So ultimately we will be left with 150 Newton compressive. So P2 is also known to us now. Now look at the force P3. So if we cut a section here, so the only force appears on the right hand side of this section will be 50 Newton, and that too tensile, so we'll take up the positive value of it. This is 50 Newton. Now we will put the value here because we are interested in this delta L. Now area 25 mm square, so we'll write 25. Modulus of elasticity is given as 200 gigapascal. So now our focus is to calculate the values in millimeter. Delta L we need to find out in millimeter first, so that we will put forces in Newton and dimensions in millimeters. So that means E value we can write as 200. Now gigapascal we need to convert into megapascal into 10 to the power 3. So this is one part which we should do, and the other values we can write here. So P1 into L1. So P1 is 100 into L1. L1 is 500. Now because P2 is compressive, so we will write minus 150 multiply by length is 800. So write 800 plus the third force, that is 50, multiply by the length. Length is given as 400. 400, right? So if you look at this, now the equation you need to solve and you will get the answer. So while solving this equation, you can just have a look on this, the values as they are given. So what we can do, just look at this. How many zeros are here? 3. These two and this one, these two and this one, these two and this one. So immediately we can cancel it with this, right? Next, delta L will be equals to, now how much we are left with here? 5 into 10, that is 50, minus this is 8 and this is 15, so that is 120, and here 4 into 5, that is again 20, right? So this is like this, and here we will be left with 15 to the 50, and there are two more zeros, these many millimeters. So if you look at this, now one more zero we can cancel. Now this is 5 plus 2 7, 5 plus 2 7, minus 12 plus 7, that will give you the value minus 5. So this is actually written as delta L is equals to minus 5 upon 500 millimeter, right? So look at this, this is negative 5 upon 500, this can be cancelled with this, so this is 100. So now if we multiply by 10, so here we will get a value 10 and here we will get a value 1000, right? So 10 upon 1000. Why I am doing so? Because in our options they have given in micrometers. So we know that micrometer, 1 micrometer is equals to how many meters? So that will be 10 to the power minus 6 meters, right? So 1 millimeter is already 10 to the power minus 3 meter. Now look at this. 1 millim, this is minus 10. Now the units we are concerned about, this is minus 10. Now this 1000 will go up, so it will be 10 to the power minus 3. So 10 to the power minus 3, 1 millimeter can also be given as 10 to the power minus 3 meter. So we will write this as 10 to the power minus 3 meter. So clubbing these two, if you club all these, so you'll come to know that 1 micrometer is 10 to the power minus 6 meter. So this is 10 to the power minus 6 meter. So it can be given as 1 micrometer. So it is minus 10 micrometer. So we are getting our answer delta L as minus 10 micrometer. This will be the final option for us, and that is given in option B. This will be the final answer, and this is option B, right? This is given in option B. Note this. When a steel bar ABCD of varying sectional is subjected to the axial forces as shown in figure. Find the value of P necessary for equilibrium. If E equals to 210 kilonewton per mm square, determine the total elongation of the bar. Please note down the diagram. You need to find the total elongation of the bar. Now let us take question 7. So in this question 7, we have been given 3 bars. Like this. Length is given as, this is 1 meter. This is 1.5 meter. And this is 0.8 meter. So this is the length given to us. Now they are subjected to some forces. What are those forces? At this point it is subjected to 50 kilonewton. This is 50 kilonewton. The area is 100 millimeter square. This is 300 millimeter square. Here they have mentioned a force P, and here they have mentioned a force 100. Now this is 600. So this is actually 800. We should take it as 800.
and this value we should take as 600, more than this. Okay, this is 600 millimeter square. Now this force is given as 80 kilo Newton, right? So now everything is given. Now what they are asking, a steel bar ABCD of varying section is subjected to the axial forces as shown in the figure. Find the value of P necessary for equilibrium. If E is given as 210 kilonewton per mm square, E is given as 210 kilonewton per millimeter square. Determine the total elongation of the bar. Now in this question they have asked two things. First, we need to determine what is P, and then they have given the value of modulus of elasticity, and we need to calculate for the total elongation produced in the bar. So how that can be done? Now first, this is very easy actually. Just write summation of forces along x equal to 0 considering rightward positive. Now some of you might have getting confused with the symbols. See, whenever I write this equation, so this equation is actually considering only the external forces. This equation has nothing to do with internal forces developing in the different bars. This is considering only the external forces. So external forces like rigid body mechanics, we have solved many problems based on this. So considering rightward positive, leftward negative, we will take up this as minus 50 plus P minus 100 plus 80 equals to 0. So from here P value is coming out to be 150, that is 150 minus 80, so that is 70. P is coming out to be 70 kilonewton. So this is the value of P. For equilibrium, this P value must be equal to 70, right? So this was easy. Now moving on to the calculation of this delta L. So the delta L calculation will involve the use of, again I will write it here. What is the value of P1? So just cut a section, 50 kilonewton tensile. So you will write, sir, this is 50. Now kilonewton means into 10 to the power 3 tensile. So that is positive. That's it. Newton. What is the value of P2? So immediately you will cut a section here and you will say, sir, this 50. Now this this P value is coming out to be 70 kilonewton positive. That means whatever the direction of P is given is correct. So the direction of P is in this side. Don't get confused that P is 70, so this is tensile. No, P is 70 means whatever you have assumed for P, that is 70. If suppose that answer would have come negative, then we would have changed the direction of P. That's it. So take care of it. Now 70 compressive and 50 tensile, that means 20 kilonewton compressive. So because of compressive, I will put a negative sign over here. Now when we talk about P3, so that is the last section. You cut it 80 kilonewton tensile. So this is easy. 80 into 10 to the power 3 Newton. 80 kilonewton tensile. Now the E value is same throughout. All other values are not same, but E value is same throughout. So what we can do, we can just write delta L is equals to 1 upon E. E value we will take common because it is constant throughout, and then is equals to P1 L1 upon A1 plus P2 L2 upon A2 plus P3 L3 upon A3. We have to go by this. Now area is already mentioned there, length is already mentioned there, and modulus of elasticity is also mentioned here. So what we are going to do, again, all the values of force I will put in Newton, all the values of dimensions I will put in millimeters, so that our answer will automatically come in millimeter. And this E also we need to put in Newton per millimeter square. So it is given in kilonewton, so we will put this value in Newton per millimeter square. So that is, now we can write delta L is equals to 1 upon E. E value is 210 into 10 to the power 3. This is the value of E, multiply by P1 L1. So P1 is 50 into 10 to the power 3. 50 into 10 to the power 3 into L is given as 1 meter, so can be given as 1000 millimeter upon area. Area is 100 mm square. Now P2 is compressive, so we'll put this as with negative sign. P2 value is 20 into 10 to the power 3. 20 into 10 to the power 3. Length 1.5, that is 1500 millimeter, divide by area. Area is given as 800, so this is 800, plus now the last value is 80 kilonewton, that is 80 into 10 to the power 3, multiply by the length is 0.8, that is 800, divide by the area. Area is 600. So this is the value for delta L. Now there are few things which you can straight away cancel. This is 10 to the power 3, 10 to the power 3, 10 to the power 3 and 10 to the power 3. Straight away we can cancel it. Now this 100, this 800 with this and this 600 with this, we can straight away cancel it out, right? So now we are left with a few simple equation, that is delta L is equals to, now this is 50 into 10, that is 500, minus 20 into 15, that is 300, and plus this is 8 and this is 80, 8 8 is 64, so that is plus 640, right? These are the values. But 500 divided by 1, 300 divided by 8 and this 640 divided by 6, multiply by 1 upon 210, right? So the second thing which we can do, this 0 0 0 and this 0 we can also cancel out. Now this equation is quite easy, we can cut it like this. 64 by 6, can we cut it? So we'll try it by cutting by 2. So this will be 32 and this will be 3. Then again this will be 15 and this will be 4, right? So after getting this value, now you can use your calculator to get the answers right. So I'll see how much I am getting, and now our answer will be in millimeters. So just make sure that you are making calculations at the same time. You can just pause the screen and you can solve it. So just do it. I will show you how I am going to do it. So I will first go with this 15 by 4. There is minus 15 by 4, that is minus 3.75, and then this is 32 by 3. So I will write here 32 by 3. So plus 32 by 3 is equals to, so the value I am getting is 6.916 and this I need to add with 50. So I am getting somewhere around 56.91 and this is to divided by 21. So I am getting this value as 2.71. 2.71. This is what I am getting, 2.71 millimeter. But I might have committed some mistake, so this answer cannot be correct also, because this is some random data which I have given to you. But the thing is, the steps which we need to follow must be like this. And answer is 99% correct only. You can make calculations and you can see, because this value makes sense, 2.71 millimeter. This is not any absurd value. Why? Because this is 1 meter, 1.5 meter and 8 meter, 0.8 meter with variable cross section area. So that value can be correct. Whatever answer we are getting is correct. Note this.